Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, my name is Mary Rose, and in this video I'll be making dinners for a week in my little 1970s kitchen. We just came from church and I'm trying to make a very quick meal using the pasta that I bought from the past grocery hauls in the past 2 weeks. I still work as a full-time night shift nurse, so making delicious meals is a challenge for me, but sometimes we do need a break and order out. This is the leftover chilies that we ordered the other day. Let's make our sauce. I have the heat already on. I'm going to add the butter just to melt it. While the butter is melting, I want to quickly add garlic, or the garlic powder. I don't want to burn it. I just want to slightly brown it, and it's already getting brown now. So I'm just going to quickly add the sauce because I don't want that brown at all, or burnt, I should say. I'll add my onion powder. I should have browned this too. I'm gonna add some pepper. I'm gonna add the remaining half and half. And this is about, I would say it's about a third left in here. My other half and a half is frozen. So I'm just gonna make do with what I have. And this is pure ground Parmesan cheese. We're gonna mix that all up. I don't like to add straight milk because it gives us tummy ache. When we use half and half or heavy cream, it's a little bit more gentler. I think there's just more lactose in the regular milk compared to the half and half or the heavy cream. This is my own version, so I'm just tossing in whatever I feel like it needs. I'm gonna add some parsley, cilantro. The cilantro is really not much of a flavor right now because it may be old already, but it kind of smells like parsley to me. So I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil in here. I'm going to add a little bit more salt and pepper. Actually, I don't think I even added any salt. That's pretty good. I'm going to add the pasta. I might even add a little bit more cream in here, but let's see how far this pasta sauce goes. Yeah, I think it's gonna need a little bit more sauce. There's some more pasta left over, but I'm gonna stop because I think it's gonna be too dry. My daughter needs to eat already, so I'm gonna let her eat, and then with the leftovers, we can just add butter, garlic powder, salt, and we kind of eat it nice and plain like that, and it's delicious. This is how the pasta sauce came out. I was trying to make not a really version of penne vodka, but just it was supposed to be Alfredo sauce, honestly. And then I decided I'm gonna add a jar of red sauce. So here it is. It tastes really good, very simple to make. I have a whole bunch of pasta left over from my shopping trips for this past 2 weeks, so I need to use them up and make some dishes. I wanted to let you guys know what I cooked for the past 2 days because obviously I can't do a Saturday to Saturday meals of the week. I'm just going to show you what I've cooked for my family. So yesterday, you know guys, we love the sour soup called sinigang, and it was so delicious. I actually made a smaller pot this time, and I did use the pork belly. I used the mustard greens, used a few ingredients, and peppers from my garden from last summer. So that came out so delicious. We did have a treat Friday evening. We went to Chili's and we bought a big platter of chicken wings, and we usually do that once to twice a month, and that's actually a lot cheaper than going out, so we have a nice Chili's appetizer at home. What I cooked 2 days before that actually filled enough food for our family's dinner for the past 2 days. And I cooked the ground beef and vegetables with peas and carrots and corn. That went really quick. The food was very good, and again, those simple meals tend to be the easiest and the most tastiest dinners that I make. So you want to give the pork chops a chance to get these seasonings into the meat because pork chops or pork is pretty much flavorless, so you have to have a good amount of seasoning. I have 3 packages of pork chops here, and I'm just gonna sprinkle the seasoning over this. I don't mind getting my hands dirty, so you'll see me mixing the meat with my bare hands. Before, I was using a store-bought adobo seasoning, and I found it to be too salty and at the same time didn't give enough flavor to the pork chops.
So this time I decided to make my own, and I always use the garlic and onion powder from Costco. It is the most tastiest and it comes pretty close to using a fresh onion and garlic. Also with that, I added salt and pepper, some thyme, smoked paprika from Trader Joe's, and then a little bit of cardamom. Now, cardamom is used in Indian desserts, but you can also use it in meats. So a little bit goes a long way. If you don't have cardamom, you can also use cinnamon, or just opt not to use the cinnamon or cardamom altogether. If you guys are enjoying this cook with me content and grocery hauls, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.
Alright, so I'm taking the pork chops and I'm cutting it at the edge over here. Just anywhere where it can, I guess it can spread a little bit when this meat cooks. This is not going to be perfect. This is going to be enough so as it cooks it's not going to curl up in the middle. So I'm going to do this for the rest, and then I'm going to let it sit here for maybe about half an hour to an hour. Here are the 2 trays of pork chops that I prepared, and I put them on pizza pans just because it fits better. I try to combine the thick pieces on one tray and the thinner pieces in another, and I'm going to try to bake this at 375 and see how it turns out. When I baked my prior pork chops on another video, I think I cooked it 400 and maybe 425. It came out a little bit dry, so I'm going to try 375 instead, and this time I'm going to do 2 trays and then I'm going to alternate halfway. First tray is finished, guys, and I'm going to wrap this up with foil so it doesn't get dry. So this actually took only 15 minutes to cook on one side and then 5 minutes to cook on the other. The other tray is still cooking. I would say maybe another 5 to 10 minutes because this was on the bottom and it got brown first. So anyway, that is our dinner for tonight. It's the next day and I have 2 bowls of chicken. One is skinless and boneless, and the other one is traditional bone-in and with skin. And so I just poured a whole bunch of garlic powder, onion powder, salt and pepper just to season them. What I decided to cook for tonight's dinner is going to be Mongolian chicken. So it's not going to be exactly what it says online. I am going to be adding a little bit of pineapple juice or something in here to make it a little sweet. It didn't require any from the recipe I saw, but I do need to add some ginger. I'm just going to add a little oil to both first, and then I'm going to just mix this as the base, and then I'll add the ginger in here. And so then tomorrow's dinner will be easier to prepare because the chicken will be already marinated. I could make like a curry or a barbecue style or a teriyaki style, so it really is versatile when I just add these simple seasonings. I'm taking this microblade and I'm just grating the ginger on top of it. I didn't even bother to peel it. I'm just gonna grate it through the skin, and it's gonna be pretty small, so you're not gonna bite into like a big piece of ginger, because I don't like eating a big chunk of ginger. I do like the taste of it, I just don't want to bite a chunk of it. I'm just gonna grate maybe a third to a half of this, depending how much I want. Now I'm just gonna add a little bit of pineapple juice. I'm also gonna add the actual pineapple, and I'm gonna break this up. And again, this is my own version of it. I don't want to add any brown sugar. And then I'm also gonna add a little bit of soy sauce. So kind of like a teriyaki almost, but again, my own version of it. I'm gonna mix everything up and chop up these pineapples.
After marinating the chicken thighs for about 30 to 60 minutes, you want to cut them up into big chunks. I was able to cut the chicken thighs into 3 pieces each. Then you want to take some cornstarch and dredge your chicken thighs into the cornstarch. Shake off the excess. You can use flour, but I find that the cornstarch will give the chicken more of a crispier texture. Then you want to take your chicken pieces and you want to fry them up. I'm using a light olive oil here, and I only filled it to the point where it covers the meat halfway. You want to fry the meat until the batter is medium brown, and I did use medium to high heat at first and then lowered it to medium or to medium low. And then I also tilted the pan so the rest of the meat can be submerged into the oil, because some pieces were a little bit thicker and needed a longer cooking.
I'm going to start off with the sauce now, but I'm going to saute the crushed red pepper. I don't have chili pepper, so I'm just going to put it into my oil. I don't want to put too much because the kids don't like it too spicy. The peppers is getting a little bit burned, but I'm going to add the sauce now. So I just put in the marinade to the chicken. I added a little bit more soy sauce, a little bit more crushed ginger, and added some water. And so I'm going to mix all that in, and then I'm probably going to add a little bit of the cornstarch to make it thick.
The sauce could have used a little bit less soy sauce, and it did need some sweetness, so I added a tablespoon of brown sugar.
After this, I'm going to put a little bit of green onions for garnish, and that should pretty much complete the sauce. I have my green onion that I've been growing for about 1.5 to 2 weeks, and so far I've used it twice. I added a little bit of cornstarch with some water, and I added it to the sauce. So now it's ready to be combined with our chicken. Alright, so I think this is pretty much mixed up, and that's going to be our dinner for today. And this is our Mongolian chicken my way.
Needed a vegetable on the side, and I decided to use our frozen bok choy. This was actually in our refrigerator, so I just steamed it up with some butter, covered it for a few minutes, and it cooked deliciously. And here we go, Mongolian chicken. The kids ate it pretty much that night.
Yesterday's dinner was a little bit labor intensive because I had to fry all that chicken. If I was making a smaller batch of chicken, I think it would be okay. But we have a big family, and all that chicken is gone.
Like I said, the kids gobbled up last night's dinner and it became a popular hit. I would like to make it as a favorite dish, but I need to figure out how to make it so I'm not slaving over the stove. But right now I am cutting the bell peppers that I have in my refrigerator. A couple of the peppers were starting to get black spots, so I decided to use what I have and incorporate it into this dish that I'm making today. Here it is, beautiful cut up bell peppers that I learned how to slice from Thriving Home.
I have a hot pan, cold oil, maybe not as hot as I would want it to be, so I'm going to heat it up a little bit more. Let's put our chicken with the skin side down. I have a good amount of chicken, and hopefully everything will fit in here. Alright, so time to add our tomato sauce. I have the Rinaldi tomato sauce that I didn't use up earlier this week. So there's about 3/4 of tomato sauce in here, and I added some water. I'm going to add a little bit more water to that actually, it's not enough. Alright, so let me add a little bit more water. I'm also going to be adding the bell peppers in here and the peas that I have from my freezer. It's time to add the bell pepper, so I'm just gonna lay it right on top. And then my frozen peas, pretty colorful. Love how it looks, and hopefully this turns out okay. And I'm just gonna try to even everything out. I'm gonna cook this on low heat. I'm going to get my pedicure, and when I come back, this should be done. Don't worry guys, I'm gonna have somebody watch my cooking so nothing spills or gets burnt. Hey guys, I'm back from my mommy time and I had a nice pedicure. Felt very relaxing, but let me show you today's dinner. It was very easy and I didn't have to sleep over the stove this time. My husband already started eating, and then I'm going to gather the kids and let them have dinner. So this is how it looks like. I didn't have to slave over the stove today. There you go, a very easy dinner. I really don't have a name for it. I don't know if you call it chicken cacciatore, but whatever it is, it's tasty. I would like to skim up a little bit of fat off the top, but I'll wait for that to cool down. But anyway, that's dinner for today. Just got back from Costco, and I'm going to be using new ingredients and leftovers from yesterday to make today's dinner.
corner. I see you from across the room. It's kinda crowded here, but I know you see me too. Everybody's singing, oh, everybody's singing, oh.
My plan is to use the leftover sauce from yesterday. There's still a good amount left. All the chicken is gone. I'm going to also add this leftover tomato and basil soup and this leftover Rinaldi sauce that was in my refrigerator. I opened them both. They still smelled good. None of them is spoiled. I was considering adding this tempura shrimp on the side, but I might just save that for another time. And then for vegetables, I'm going to steam up some broccoli and put cheese on top. I'm also going to add 1 package of sweet Italian sausage that I just bought from Costco. I'm going to use the same pot that I used for the pasta, have a little oil in the bottom. I added a little bit of water in the bottom so it can cook thoroughly, and then I'm going to cover this.
I don't know what it is about you. It must be in the way you move. Just say you want me to. We got nothing to lose. You're looking so old. You're looking so old. Now I'm moving closer to you, and it's getting dark in this room. Tell me what you wanna do. Baby, let me love you, let me love you. Let me love you, let me love you. Baby, let me love you, let me love you. Let me love, baby, let me love you.
I'm going to take the sausages that we cut up and I'm going to put it into the pan. And that's going to cook for another few minutes. I'm going to add a little bit of crushed red pepper, Italian seasoning, and some parsley. We're going to mix that up. We're going to cook it for another minute or two. The sauce is just about done, so I'm going to cook the broccoli. I'm going to use the same pot as I used for the pasta. To save on dirty dishes, I use the same pot to cook the noodles, same pot to cook the sausages, and the same pot to cook the broccoli. The broccoli is done, and all I'm going to do is add shredded cheese on top. You can still see the steam from it being cooked. This is finely shredded cheese, so it should melt pretty quickly. One more helping of cheese. We're ready to add the pasta into the sauce. Ooh. I poured too much in here. And then I'm gonna try, or I'm going to attempt to mix this, and hopefully it doesn't spill. Here you go, guys. Here's our dinner for today. It took a little bit of work just because I went grocery shopping and then I had several steps in this dish, but otherwise this was a pretty easy dish. And then on the side I have the broccoli with the cheese on top, and then you can see it melted pretty good. For the last dinner of the week before I post this video, it's going to be chuck steak. So it's my husband's recipe. He has the soy sauce and the seasonings on the tray, but I asked him if he can add a little bit of lemon, so I have the lemon on the table and I'm just about to cut that. We usually buy chuck steak just because it's the least expensive and because it stays nice and moist. Yes, sometimes it does get a little bit tough, but if you marinate it long enough, then it becomes more tender. But tonight we're kind of in a rush. We're going out later on. It's going to be a pretty fast dinner, so the meat might be a little bit tough for tonight.
Just trying to get everything.
Our choice of meat may not be so great, but my husband does like it. So this time I wanted to kick it up a notch and added extra flavor to it. So I decided to add some lemon and some Worcestershire sauce and hopefully make this dish a little bit more flavorful.
My husband saw me add the oregano, and I also had the granulated onion in my hand. So I told him to go downstairs and I'll be the one to finish cooking the steak. Hopefully it comes out better than his. Alexa, set a timer for 5 minutes. Here's a steak that was on the top rack, and I initially cooked it at 375 for 19 minutes. Flipped it over, cooked it for 2.5 minutes, and then I decided I'm gonna take it out now. It's pretty much cooked. I would say it's like a medium or medium well, but I'm gonna work a little bit backwards, and I just want this to be seared just a little bit on the outside. So I have a cast iron pot right now on the stove, waiting for it to warm up, and then I'm just gonna slightly fry it, and then the steak should be done. The bottom steaks came out slightly undercooked than I wanted it to, because there are 2 steaks on here, even though it was closer to the heat. The pan is nice and hot. I'm gonna add the oil. I'm also gonna add butter in here. I think I added a little bit too much oil, but that's okay. I'm going to add 1 steak at a time. The steak fits a little bit nicer now that I cut that piece, but I will fry up the piece as well. So this is only going to take less than a minute.
My intention was to fully cook the steaks into the oven, but I couldn't leave it looking like it was undone, so I decided to go ahead and fry it up in my cast iron. Now I know I added a little bit too much oil, but it did come out tasting pretty good.
I'm going to cook the rest of the steaks the same way, and then I'll show you how it looks like. Steaks are all done. They only fried for about 30 seconds on each side. They came out nice and brown. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some sauce with the brown bits on the bottom of the pan. I'm not going to pour it on top of the steak, but I'm going to use it as a dipping sauce or as a glazing sauce.
I decided to add the leftover juice from the steak to the sauce, and also to incorporate the white button mushrooms that I bought from Costco.
This is a part of the steak that was on the top rack, and as you can see, it did cook to medium. The meat on the bottom rack did cook to medium well, and for those who want the more cooked meat, then they can choose that. I'm gonna add the sauce that I made, which is right here. I guess I can call it the au jus sauce, and I'm just gonna pour some of it on top of the steak. I want to thank those who made it this far watching my video and me cooking in my baby kitchen. Thank you for watching me this whole week. I know it's only been 6 days, but tomorrow is my son's birthday, so that's going to be a treat for us, and it's a day where I don't have to cook as heavily. The following weeks I do want to make sort of like a meal plan, because I don't want to have to do this heavy cooking like I did this week. I am still working full-time, so I do need to make something that doesn't require so much, like I would say half an hour's time to 45 minutes time of cooking. So that's going to be a challenge for me, and I'm going to take you along on that journey. Once I figure out what I can cook, I'm probably going to use a crock pot. I'm probably going to use my slow cooker. I'm probably just going to bake something that's really easy and tasty for my family. I appreciate you guys watching this week of dinners, and if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this to come. Okay guys, have a good night. Bye.